Okay, so John just needed a couple minutes to set it up. John, you'll let us know when we can start?
He's on mute.
Okay, bye, Mia.
Okay, Kathy, should be all set.
Okay,
All right, if
Thank
you
you.
need me, just holler. I'll just be offline.
okay, thanks, John.
Yep, bye-bye.
All right, go ahead, Michelle.
Good. Okay, good to go. Okay, welcome. This is a design review committee meeting. The open meeting of the design review committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor's Baker executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts due to the COVID outbreak. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the design review committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the design review committee to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to the Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link on this agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The meeting will not feature public comment. I will now confirm the members' access. The chair will confirm that the board members and persons anticipated on the agenda remotely are present and can be heard by stating the following. So we just want to make sure that everyone is here, and I'll call out everyone's name. Diana?
Here.
Lisa?
Here.
David?
Here.
Tom?
Here.
All right, and we have our applicant who's here tonight, and that is going to be Nick and Tim, correct? And we have James on the phone. So we're a continuation of our hearing with the applicant on Southwest Cutoff, and they're back here tonight with a revised reversion of his building design. We've wrapped up the landscaping and the signage and the lighting, so we're going to start in with the building again. So James or Nick or Tim, if you'd like to start with your presentation, you're all set.
Tim, go ahead. Or rather, Nick, why don't you go ahead?
Can I share my screen?
Yep, John, can you, do you have to do something so that Nick can share his screen?
No, Nick, down the bottom, you're going to see like a green icon that says share screen.
Yeah, I clicked on it.
Okay, what you need to do is you need to have your document open on your desktop. And when you click on the share screen, it should show that document.
Like this.
Nick, I've got
Unfortunately, I can't see
one
your PC.
open. Let me see if mine will.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh yeah, that's what it says on mine too. So John, we have a notice that comes up, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Is that working?
Yep.
Okay.
Nick, is yours?
Okay. That looks good. Does that look good, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that, Kathy?
Yeah, is that mine or yours?
Mine.
Okay,
So after our last design review meeting, we reached out to Jay Ferreira Associates to review all of our previous drawings that we had submitted and all the comments from the design review committee. And this is what we came up with. Obviously, you can see we changed the color of the building, both buildings, and we added on the larger 160-foot long building overhangs over the front entryways. We changed the size of the doors and windows, along with changing the siding around the entryways. It still will be a metal corrugated siding, but a different pattern and laid horizontally instead of vertically. And then on,
Nick, can you zoom out?
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
sorry.
if I'm the only one that can only see part of your drawing.
yep, no problem.
Thanks.
Is that better?
Thanks you. Yeah, thanks.
And then on, so this is a little side profile of these overhangs on the front of the larger building. They'll project 4 feet out. They'll be 10 feet, 7 inches off the finished floor elevation. And then on the side of the smaller 140-foot long building, we have these corner details of the horizontal laid metal siding in the different color. And the colors are rustic red for all the trim, the fascia and frieze trim around the roof of the buildings and on the edges of the proposed overhangs, with pearl gray for the main body color of the buildings and a burnished slate color for around the entryways. And that pretty much sums up the changes that we made.
so Nick, the door overhangs are only on the larger building, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
The only what faces Route 20.
yeah, okay.
Can we ask questions?
Go ahead.
Nick, what's happening on the other elevations in terms of color?
They would be all the this pearl gray color, the main body color, but the trim all the way around them will be the red.
And is the window sash and door sash, did you say was a dark gray?
Yeah, it's called a burnished slate,
Okay,
dark gray. Yeah.
is that red an option to be used around the windows and on the doors?
I'd have to look into that. I mean,
Well, I think
I would assume that
yeah.
if we can get the trim for the rest of the building, I'm sure we could get the trim pieces for around the windows and the doors.
The actual sash and the actual door?
Oh, for that, I
You don't know?
don't know. I don't know.
All right. Well, I think it's a big improvement. I would like to see the gable wall elevation on the small building where you got the horizontal trim in the corners.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see that vocabulary used in both buildings. So it ties both units together.
Okay, so like on the gable end elevations of the larger building as well? Is that?
Yeah, or even on this, because what you're going to see as you drive by are these two elevations you're showing us.
Yep.
It'd be nice to see some way of getting that vertical vocabulary into the long building elevation. Maybe it means running
Like in this
the
area,
horizontal siding in the center section all the way up.
right in here.
Or, yeah, or it's just some way so that vertical detail is consistent throughout both buildings.
Okay.
I'm not so sure about the scale of the supports for these flat roofs.
In what way, Tom?
But they're just, I don't think they're going to read on a building this long, something that's like 4 inches or a cable or something. I like the idea of the horizontal roof, but I think that red horizontal roof should be the same width as your brown horizontal siding rather than stepping it in, because now it's ending over a window.
Right here.
Yeah. And maybe that horizontal brown continues below the windows between the two window door segments. So
Here.
it's 10 feet high, drops down to 3 feet high, goes up to 10 feet, drops down, kind of gives you a little more, activates the elevations a little bit more. But I think this is a big improvement.
I agree. It's a big improvement. I like the idea of running that darker brown across the bottom, like you were suggesting, beneath the windows, all the way across.
So I don't mean to interrupt you
Go ahead.
before I lose Tom's train of thought. So you're thinking at the bottom of the windows, the 4 feet, it's like about 4 feet up.
Yeah,
Straight across, okay. Sorry.
it kind of acts like a wainscoting
Yep.
across the front.
What's
So-
that look like with the garage doors?
Lisa, we can't hear you.
What's the back look like with the garage doors?
I don't have, I'd have to go back to one of the original elevations. I don't have one of those queued up for tonight.
Those are not facing the street in either case, correct?
Right, correct.
Border building, they face north. So I think if you're coming from Main Street, you're not going to be able to see, like, I think we're adding greenery and a fence. So I don't think you're going to see those garage doors coming from that direction. But I do think, so I'm curious why you're using two different colors on the corners of the shore.
I didn't realize that until tonight. I couldn't tell it's supposed to be, this is the red trim color, it's supposed to be this color.
Okay, that's what I was,
It got
okay.
rendered wrong. I couldn't pick up on it until just now.
So does the corner on this one wrap?
No, it was just on this side, just on the gable end.
I guess if you're gonna wrap it on the long building though, I would wrap it here.
Okay,
Because
yep,
people are gonna see that elevation
Yes.
coming from, the south. I'm less concerned about the canopy supports. I mean, I kind of like the more minimal ones, but I think extending it to the width of the dark siding makes sense. It's gonna be pretty long in the middle, but either that or it looks like on that one. So in the center ones, it looks like the architect has lined up the ends of the canopies with the edge of the window and the edge of the door, right?
yeah, they look like they line up pretty well. Yep.
But then on the like on the left, that one, it's not. So if,
We'll
yeah, I think
clarify that.
Tom's suggestion makes sense though, to just extend it the full width of the dark siding.
Okay.
And then, yeah, just wrap the siding like Tom had mentioned on the, off of the short ends around. I don't feel so strongly about making the darker siding in the center any taller, any higher. I think that's okay as it is. So,
Okay.
So Nick, would the trim color and the lighter siding color would be on the other three sides of the buildings? Would also the windows and doors match the colors that we see here?
We would, on the front of the smaller building, we would use the same color doors and same color windows,
But you wouldn't have any of this
Right.
horizontal siding?
but not with this around the doors, not around entryways.
Yeah. Well, you might consider doing it at maybe one location. If is there a central location on the smaller building?
It's
The
laid
two
out.
doors in the middle?
It's laid out similar to this one,
Right.
just a little smaller.
so you could do it in the center section.
Just doing the middle section, yeah.
And then with the garage doors, I assume that they're not white any longer. There's some complementary color with this scheme.
Yeah, we picked like a gray color that matches the body color.
So that's a gray color. But
It's supposed to be pearl gray. I don't think when it was rendered, it came across good.
I mean, I think that'll be actually better than the way it's represented here. So, okay, that makes sense. Make the garage doors the same color.
So this is the pearl gray. This is going to be the body color. The accent panels with the rustic red.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
I like it much better than the green. So Nick, are you guys having any lights on the building at all?
Yes. And that was reflected in the photometric plan that we had submitted.
Okay,
We have the standard lights over the entryways.
okay,
Wall pack lights,
Wall
at
pack
each,
lights, yeah.
at each entry, front and back. And again, just in addition to the 4 poles that are proposed.
So James, would these wall packs be above these overhangs?
They would be about like in this area between the
Okay.
door and
They'd
the,
be under the overhangs.
yeah.
Do we have this submittal of what the picture looks like?
We do.
Yeah, I don't have it.
There.
I didn't pull it out to bring it up tonight.
Okay, I can look for it. I remember now.
Okay.
Not last time, yeah.
And then there's, Nick or James, what was it? There's 4 or 5 light poles also in the
Sure,
parking?
there are 4 light poles proposed, 1 by the entrance, 1 at that sort of furthest back point off of Route 20, another behind the smaller building, and 1 in the little sort of peninsula of landscaping beside the parking in front of the little building, but it's kind of a position between the 2 buildings, and it would cast a bit of light on both. So again, just 4 light poles in addition to the wall packs at all the entrances.
and James, you decided on a externally lit light, right? You're not going to have an internally lit light, the one that's going to be on the street, the signage.
External.
Correct. They want to, Tim and Nick, they want to go with the same style as at 130, which was
Okay.
the externally lit light down below.
Okay. All right. So it looks like they're all set with their lighting plan. Does anyone have any feedback on their lighting?
I think what they have, I'm looking at it now, it looks good.
Okay. And we've already reviewed and approved the landscape plan. With
Well,
regards to the signage, you just talked about you're going to have the sign similar to the other property. And I'm
Yep.
assuming that as you get tenants in the building, you may or may not have signage on the building, but you'd probably. just
Actually,
have that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Michelle, there was a revised landscaping plan
Okay,
that went out that
we
you
should
could
review
probably have,
tonight.
yeah, that you could probably have James review.
Okay, all right. So
So, Nick,
James, if you want to do this, and then Dave, if you want to weigh in on it, please.
Sure. So the two main changes made were that in order to ensure that there's some coverage of the Del Grecos, the landscaping at the west end where you see the notation Fred L. Del Greco, Ruth M. Del Greco on the land below this, to the south of this site. Additional plants were added out at the west end, at the end away from Route 20, to help ensure that they've got buffer. Now they're going to have, again, the 6-foot-high stockade fence, and in fact, the landscape architect actually supplied an example of that. And the other major change was that what we looked at was, again, with the sign position, the plantings that have been proposed, which item PP there's two of them. That's a parata, if I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, that tree. Those were pushed back closer to the proposed picket fence, and one was taken away so that they wouldn't obscure the sign, so that sign position has value. Now the part of the discussion at the last meeting was that the committee, I think the sentiment was that the committee would support a variance for the sign to be in a position adjacent to, closer to the entrance, even though that is in the residency district. We're going to go ahead, I think, at this point and with this design, and they may end up the applicants going back and asking for a variance specifically for the sign, but I think they want to, at least for now, not muddy the discussion with the issue of the sign and its position, and allowing signs in the residential district, and is there a hardship that requires that, et cetera, et cetera. So again, the two main changes to the landscape plan were additional plantings bordering the Del Grecos, and moving trees, the parata, if I'm saying that right, in front to make the sign visible.
James, will that 30-inch oak tree obscure your view of the sign coming north?
Only when you're actually pretty far from it. It doesn't have a lot going on at ground level, Tom.
All right.
It's a pretty healthy tree, but its branches are really primarily up higher canopy.
It can also be pruned up. Whatever's left down there is nothing great.
Yeah.
And with this more contemporary looking metal building, maybe that white concave picket fence is not the appropriate look. It's a little too traditional looking for these buildings.
Well, I think the idea was to try and counteract the industrial look of that was necessarily going to be part of the appearance of the building, and have something with a little different flavor there, again, to maybe push in a different direction. Is it your feeling that it's not a contrast? It just doesn't fit, or?
No, I just think it's too suggestive of a historic style for these kind of buildings.
Oh.
You know, with the little tapered cap on the posts and the concave pointed slats. It's a little too residential for me.
And it doesn't go with a commercial building in that case, especially with the facade that you're proposing now.
Exactly.
The two vernaculars don't match.
Right.
Okay.
Nor do the colors. I don't know if that matters too much, but.
Do you have a suggestion for what might be a more appropriate fencing that would maybe soften the industrial look a little bit, but maybe not be so? Again, I think you're sort of saying incongruous.
Well, flat topped slats, with a color that's compatible with the buildings now. I don't know what choices you are, black and white. There might be, I'm not sure what's available, but I don't think we want a residential fence vocabulary mixing with this building.
No, I agree.
Would the 6-foot fence at 109 and 113 be suitable?
What does that look like?
Yeah.
Do we want a 6-foot fence though? If it's already raised relative to the street level?
Yeah, 'cause that's up on a berm, correct? Yeah.
Well, it's a solid fence at
Yeah.
109.
Yeah.
What do you think about getting rid of the fence altogether? I mean, the whole
We can get rid of the fence easy, Tom.
the intention was to block those original white buildings. If the building's more attractive, why block it? You got the
And honestly, I agree. And
The
also,
fence is the memory.
I think, Tim, you're wasting your money with a fence. It's going to be destroyed plowing.
You know what I'm saying?
You get the
Get it on the
landscape
building.
there.
Take the money you save from the fence and put it onto the building.
I don't know if there's anything left, but we'll try.
Come on.
The other question too,
Okay.
side fencing that you showed that had the beige and white.
Yeah, that's the stockade
Yeah, it's just a
at
place,
the Del Greco boundary.
right. Stockade all the way up because you're trying to keep the light from going in. But the one that was shown just recently is got a taupe inside and white trim with a white slat top. Is
We
that what-
could skip that fence across Route 20.
Lisa, I'm not sure what
Yeah, Lisa, can you
where that
repeat?
leaves off.
Yeah, Lisa, can you repeat the last thing you said because we couldn't hear you?
Fence that showed recently was a very residential fence. It has a color center and white trim and white top with vertical slats. And the color is certainly not going to go with the building. It's much more residential. It just straight stockade fence all the way up would be fine because you're trying to block light from the automobiles coming back across the driveway.
Oh, we have two different fences on this site. We have a 6-foot stockade between the Del Grecos and 50 Southwest Cutoff.
Right,
That's one type. The other one we've been talking about along Route 20 is
I
the
know,
white slatted,
Right.
4-foot high, concaved.
right. And I totally agree with you, with what you were saying about the front fence. I'm just saying the side fence was submitted again and it was a different fence. And it's 2-color. It had a beige center and it had white trim. Did you see that picture?
I saw the picture, but look, now that I'm looking at the landscape plan, I'm not as concerned about that for 2 reasons. One is that it's got greenery on both sides, and the other is that, it could be more associated with the other property. So it's a little bit, to me, it's a little less, visible.
Right. That was, I think, our and Larry Green, the landscape architect who had picked that one. I think his thinking is that that fence is kind of is bordering the residence, and it shouldn't be just a total utilitarian stockade fence.
I mean, Lisa, to your point, maybe the white becomes a different color, but I think the beige would go pretty well with what they're proposing for the rest of the buildings. I don't know. Were you thinking
Lisa,
of
did you
other
have a
colors?
recommendation?
If you're gonna have slate or gray, and maybe you could put the center with gray, you shouldn't have it beige. You should be more in color of what the building is gonna be. And I know that they make those in certain colors because my garage door fencing gave me that option, so I'm sure that you can get those out. But beige doesn't match grays that you have. Even the gray and slate, where's the beige match?
Okay. All right, so James, how do you feel about that? I mean, you have a beige and white stockade fence. I know the landscape architect did it that way to be more appealing to the person on the other side.
Right.
And Lisa, you're suggesting to do, instead of beige and white, gray and white?
Well, at least gray. I don't know that, I mean, I don't like the other fence. I think it's too residential, but you know, if you're doing it because that's what the Del Grecos want, then.
Lisa, I think that is sort of the determining thing here is we were trying to, along with blocking headlights, make this something that, especially while plants are first becoming mature, something that the Del Grecos wouldn't mind looking at.
Okay. And they are the people who will be looking at it now. Did you show it to them? Did they like it?
They've been looking in on these meetings since they
Okay.
started.
Okay, so the homeowner likes it, so that makes sense. So are we all in agreement to removing the fence on Route 20?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's do that. We'll keep the other fence since the homeowner on that side likes it. They'll be looking at it. And Dave, since you're our landscape person, you're our go-to person, do you have any other recommendations or changes?
I think everything else looks good.
Okay. Okay,
So I think we would like to see all 4 elevations of both buildings before we can give a final stamp of approval.
We were trying to wrap up this hearing before the ZBA on the 24th.
Well, if you could send us the elevations, we could review them.
okay. So just going down our checklist, we are all in agreement with landscaping. Is that everyone in agreement? Yep. And we're all in agreement with signage. And it appears we're all in agreement with lighting and the location of the buildings. The last is just the remaining details. And so you're supposed to go to the ZBA next week, Tim?
24th.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. So our choice is to either meet again, or they could send the renderings over and our 2 architects, or we could all give feedback. I think the only thing we're looking at is basically the back of the building. Is that correct, Tom, that you're concerned about? And Lisa?
Well, we've seen 2 out of 8 elevations. I think before we can approve them, we need to see all sides.
Okay. All right. I'm just looking at my calendar now. The 24th, you're going to the ZBA is on a Tuesday night. We have a planning board meeting next Tuesday night. And I don't know if you want to come back again, or if you want to do this via online. Kathy, if you want to help make a recommendation on how we can help these guys out to get to the ZBA meeting with their last, they're missing 6 renderings, right?
Well, you know, on one hand, if you need to discuss, you know, if you want to discuss the elevations, you know, you need to do that in a public meeting. So it would, you know, we can just, you know, Nick, I don't know when you would be able to get the elevations to us or to me to distribute to the board. I know on the 16th, there's at least a Conservation Commission meeting. 17th is Planning Board. 18th, I have another commitment. I could look at the 19th. I don't know if people are free on the 19th, if we looked at a 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Or-
Kathy, that would need to be, I'm going to the Conservation Commission on the 16th and the Planning Board on the 17th, so it would have to be the 19th for me.
Works
So
for me.
would you, assuming that this is going to be a quick meeting, would you consider doing it in the day? Sometimes it's hard to get hosts for the meetings. So I think it would be easier for me to get a host if we just did this particular one, you know, say like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning
Which day?
of the 19th.
Yeah, I'm good.
Could we do it at 8:30? Not 8?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, that would work here. I don't know,
I
with the
can't
rest of
do.
you.
I have a weekly meeting that's 7:45 to 8:30. So.
What about Lisa and Dave? What's your schedule like at 8:30 on the 19th?
I'm okay, 8:30.
I'm all right.
Okay.
Yep.
So
I'll
it
just
looks
be
like,
rolling out of bed.
yeah. And so what about Nick and Tim? How about you guys? Can you make a quick meeting on the 19th at 8:30 in the morning?
It'd be perfect.
Okay,
And Nick, you'd have the elevations to us a couple days before that?
We'll start work on it tomorrow morning.
Okay.
so this should be quick because everything is done and we just have to wait for those elevations. And we'll review it. I've got it in my calendar at 8:30 in the morning on the 19th. So it shouldn't last that long.
Okay.
How's that sound?
And if James could update this site plan with the fence removal
Will do.
and submit that so we can finish off that piece.
Will do.
Okay. All right. It looks good and hopefully wrap it up on the 19th. And then you should be all set for Tuesday, the 24th. Okay?
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So, John, if you're still there, if you want to let James and Nick and Tim exit, then the design review can continue on.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Todd.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Night.
Okay. And Kathy, did we decide when we're going to meet our next time other than the 19th with Judy Barrett?
No, and I'd asked Judy for some dates for tonight's meeting, but so I'll get them in advance of the 19th so I can circulate them to you.
Okay,
And then we can pick a date from there.
okay. And do you have any other commercial or any other projects coming down that we need to start thinking about that are coming?
Nope, not that I'm aware of. Nothing that's been filed at this point.
So it'll be quiet in December. Yeah.
Woohoo! I need that.
All right, so I think we're done. Yeah. And when do you want us to review minutes and stuff? Do you want to do that at that next meeting at 8:30?
I have to write the minutes.
Okay,
So that's your, that's the holdup is me writing the minutes.
okay.
But I wish I could just give my notes to somebody, but if you saw my notes, you would understand that I couldn't pass them off to somebody. So it's just a matter of like, sitting in there some Saturday and just getting them taken care of.
Yeah,
So I'll work on that.
okay,
Constantly on the to-do list.
okay, all right. All right, everybody, so we'll see everybody back at the 19th at 8:30 in the morning, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Sounds good.
thank you.
Okay.
Have a good
Good night,
week.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, John.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Welcome.